Four ordinary guys with extraordinary ideas for Disney parks. This is Main Street Musings,
the experimental podcast of tomorrow.
Welcome to Main Street Musings, the experimental podcast of tomorrow. My name is Eric, and joining me today we have Knock Knock Knock, Housekeeping, Brock.
Are you decent?
We have Do Not Disturb, Jake.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
And we have the mini fridge costs extra, Tanner.
Hey.
And we are Main Street Musings. Today, if you couldn't tell, we are going to be talking about resorts.
Yeah, you sleep
The resort
in like a hotel.
The resort hotels, yes.
Yes.
And coming up with our own or potentially twists on ones that exist.
For those who may not have been able to stay at Disney parks in the past, Disney is known for its theming both in the parks and outside of them while on property. They're known for their themed resorts. What are some examples, guys?
Over in Walt Disney World, there is Port Orleans, which is themed after New Orleans. And that one is actually divided into two halves. You have Riverside, which is more of like the swamp and the bayou, and then you have a subsection of that which is called Magnolia Bend, which is more like your plantation houses and mansions. And then there's the other half, which is called Port Orleans French Quarter, which is themed more after Mardi Gras French Quarter, and it's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of resorts.
Yeah, there's the Pop Century, the Art of Animation.
Tanner, what's your favorite resort you've stayed at?
Any of them, man. I'm just glad to be there.
Okay, to be fair, yeah, that was a hard question.
I'll be honest. My whole take is I love the resorts. I love the theming. But at the end of the day, if you're spending more time in your resort than you are in those parks, you're not doing things right.
Yes.
That being said,
I have to agree with that.
if I was given the opportunity to stay in the resorts for a week and not be able to go to the park, I would take it in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I would still do
absolutely.
that.
Those
Right
places
now?
are amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to go spend time at the Polynesian and
Yes.
just do nothing and stay
Yes.
away from people. Keep a very socially distant experience at the resort.
You can tell what year this is recorded in. Well, at least I hope.
Yeah. Oh, God.
These are timeless episodes.
All right. So our pitches for resorts. We want to just get into it, boys?
Let's get on
Yeah, I
in
think
there.
we
Well, I'm
can
gonna
just
roll up
jump right
pyramidal
in. I
objects,
think
this
at this
D4.
point, anybody listening should know how this show works. If they don't, they can go back and listen to previous episodes.
It's the part where we make a pitch. Me. Cool. Well, in my continued attempts to make sure that I come up with an idea that is completely undoable every single time, we are going to go underwater into one of glub into one of the many lakes that surround the Florida Park Centrals. Particularly, maybe we'll talk specifically about that in front of the Magic Kingdom. The name of the resort is Atlantica. It is themed half between The Little Mermaid and Atlantis. There will be like fun cartoony coral reef sections and crustacean animatronic bands that are kind of playing out in the waiting areas and stuff like that. That's more of like the mezzanine, like greet area. And then the further down you go, the more those begin to start, like the ancient artifact ruins of Atlantis start to creep in over the architecture. In the most ambitious part of this, the tram system that takes people from one place to the other. And if this is going to be the thing that puts the nail in the coffin about talking about it, but this is flexible. Little, almost like mini submarine pods take you into the parks.
Eric, this is really awesome, but this might be another podcast.
Wait, not a single part of it is above the water?
I'm sure there's a drive-in entrance, but so
the parking lot.
Yeah, there would be an optional way to get to the parks that wasn't.
So wait,
the
do you like pull into a parking lot and a bellboy's like, "I'll help you with those," and they just chuck your luggage into the lake?
So I imagined like the entrance to be like there's like a couple stories above ground that are like themed like up in coral and stuff like that, sort of like an above ground Great Barrier Reef.
So maybe the entry building is above ground, and then you take the elevator down.
Okay. And then
that
Eric.
makes a little more sense.
I am curious. Have you ever heard the story of our friend Icarus?
This whole idea was pitched to me as be as wildly creative as you think you can be and come up with the coolest stuff that you can think of.
I didn't say no.
yeah. Also, yes.
Just checking in.
Yeah. I heard he flew a little close to the sun.
Tad.
I guess you're going the opposite way.
Yeah, I'm going down, going further away from the sun.
Where it's waterproof.
Yeah, being crushed by the pressure of my own decisions.
I mean, I think in the discussion phase, we could probably talk about like more logistics to that if it comes to that.
Sure, yeah. But that's my idea. So it's themed between Little Mermaid and Atlantis with the idea that the further down you go, the more Atlantean the architecture becomes.
That's pretty aesthetic.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, I love it.
you know.
Well-
I think if we ever pitched this to Bob Iger, he would punch you.
That's fine. All right, let's see who's going next.
Oh, actually, well, that's kind of a perfect segue for me. Because
Bob Iger punching?
no, sorry. Tanner's question: have you ever heard the tale of Icarus? Because my park is
Gonna be on the sun.
my resort is.
Yeah,
on
Eric,
the
you're
sun.
too ambitious. I want to be on the sun. I want to harness the power of the stars.
My idea is based on Greek mythology.
Oh.
There we go. Much like Icarus, who is a part of Greek mythology. Back when they were first building Walt Disney World, there was going to be a planned Mediterranean resort on the shores of the Seven Seas Lagoon, and that was scrapped for cost reasons and logistics. But I would like to take that property, which is still there, still sitting empty right now, it's mostly parking, and turn that into sort of a facsimile of the Greek island city of Santorini. Santorini, for those of you who might not be familiar, is kind of that classic, beautiful Greek picture. The pristine white buildings with the bright blue roofs, and they are all kind of almost look like poured concrete, but they're just kind of stacked on top of each other along a cliffside on a like 45-degree angle up a mountain. Now that's the most ambitious part of mine, is I kind of want to topographically build up that area so we can have that almost 45-degree angle, and toward the top, sort of the centerpiece of the resort is going to be Mount Olympus. So we have that Greek, a little slightly more modern in history, Greek Santorini. We also have that wrapped around Mount Olympus at the top, and then often in the resorts they're going to be segmented into different areas. Like for instance, the Caribbean Beach Resort, those are areas themed after different countries. I think it would be really cool if we themed areas after different Greek gods. And so we could use the design aesthetic from the Hercules movies, kind of wrap in an existing Disney IP while also not making it feel like you're in a theme park, making it feel like the resort, but just kind of wrap that in to the gods. And then the top, where they have the cafeteria and the restaurant and all that sort of stuff that they have in a central hub location of the resorts normally, that's going to be themed around Mount Olympus.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
45 degrees, huh?
Okay, 45 is ambitious.
I was going to say that seems to be about the same degree angle that Sisyphus pushed his rock up eternally up the hill.
All right.
Let's go, Jake.
All right. So my idea, one thing I have noticed with Disney resorts, a theme they seem to have, and I might be wrong, but this is just something I've noticed on my own, is they tend to take a real life place in the world, somewhere that would be cool for people to stay or see had they gone there in real life, and they bring it to Disney World in kind of a Disney fashion. So like I mentioned Port Orleans before, there's the Polynesian, which is themed after Polynesia, of course. So it kind of gives people a chance to go stay at these awesome places from around the world. So I try to think of a cool place that exists in the world that in real life maybe isn't as cool. I don't know, I haven't been there, but a Disney version of it certainly would be. So I thought of, in Sausalito, California, the Houseboat Village. So what I'm thinking is this would work similar to the cabins at Fort Wilderness, where each family has their own little cabin to stay in, but instead of cabins, they would be houseboats, and they would actually be in a little lake with docks leading to them, and they could all connect as the Houseboat Village, and each one could look different. And I've actually taken the floor plans of the cabins, and I've laid them out as a houseboat, and it would work. You could just theme it to look like a houseboat. And the way I think we could do this is it would be kind of like the boat in Hollywood Studios, which looks like a boat, but it's actually a building with water around it. Mm-hmm. But it's still stable to the ground. And we can get more in depth in that if we choose to talk further about this. But that's my idea. Sausalito Houseboat Village.
I love it. Sounds super cool. T-Man?
All right, so I guess that leaves me left to pitch. So, my idea is ambitious in another way.
Uh-oh.
So, after the events of Marvel's Civil War, Tony Stark sold Stark Towers, which has now been turned into a resort celebrating the history of the heroic Avengers. Guests can stay inside the tower and check out historic pieces from the MCU films. This resort would be unique because it will allow guests to stay inside the park in the Avengers campus portion of Disney's California Adventure.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I like that.
Interesting.
Now, I should say there is an Avengers-themed hotel in Disneyland Paris.
Yeah,
But-
but this one's in the park.
I was going to say, yours sounds way
And
better.
it's Stark Tower.
Theirs is more like they took a hotel and threw Avengers stuff at it.
Yeah, that one's more of a general design theme rather than actual theming.
Yeah, this one would be in the vein of like the new Star Wars hotels.
Gotcha.
And it's a themed experience of being in Stark Towers.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome.
Cool. Good pitches, guys.
Well done, team.
It's the part where we do Q&A.
I have a question as we move into the question portion for all three of you.
All right.
Why do you think yours is better than mine?
No, all three of you have pitches involving waters in Florida.
Yes.
So I just wrote down 2 words in the question mark. Gator proofing. Question mark.
I'll start with that. My pitch is just a location that's going to be like the Polynesian. It's going to be like the Grand Floridian. I mostly want the that sort of view of the pristine white buildings and the ability for the guests staying there to be able to look out onto the water. It's going to have a pool, probably like a Poseidon-themed pool, but I'm not putting anyone in that water.
With the underwater viewing windows of the Atlantica Resort, we would embrace our gator friends and we would round them up and put them into cool little Leviathan costumes and have them swim around so that they're a more well-rounded experience.
Eric, I was rooting for you. I've always wanted to go to an underwater resort.
Honestly, to be completely 100% serious, of our 3 ideas, not yours, Tanner, I think mine would lead to the biggest problem with gators because it puts the guests closest to interacting with them. Brock's, the guests would not be any closer than at the Polynesian or at Grand Floridian or any of the others. Eric's, I mean, they're surrounded by like the super thick glass. So they're safe from the gators. Mine would pose the biggest problem because the guests are going to be right by the water because they're in these houseboats. That being said, I didn't make this clear in my pitch. I think the water would just be more of an illusion. It would yes, it would be water, but it might only be a foot or 2 deep max.
Okay.
I also think
That I don't know how deep of water gators like. Is that too shallow for them? I would assume it is, but I don't know. I'm not a gator.
another
Not a gator man.
possibility for Jake's might be turning that into more of a a man-made, maybe more like a pool. Maybe it is the pool. They're able to keep gators out of the pools, So
Yeah, so this would definitely be a separate water feature. At one point I thought it might be cool to connect it to one of the rivers, but so like you could still like take one of the boats maybe to downtown Disney Springs now.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, honestly. I don't know enough about gators to give you a good answer to that.
Yeah, my main question with Eric was just to not have children crying, seeing
Right.
gators, which you answered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
I
gonna
am,
put them in a
like,
costume.
generically flexible with like maybe it is fully above ground, but it's in a structure that kind of hides it from the outside. And then once you're in it, there's like 1/2-inch layers of water in between the windows and maybe like a projected outside.
So potentially it could work like the Star Wars hotel that makes
Yeah.
it seem like you're in space. It's an
But you're-
illusion.
illusion
that
of
you're
underwater.
I would also say a little less cost effective than what you just described might be kind of what you described with the Sausalito boats, where it looks like it's underwater, but it's really just a solid structure with maybe 1 or 2 floors that are under the water line.
Yeah.
But as long as they build that properly, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
All right, that was a pretty good question there,
was-
Tanner.
yeah, that was an
Warranted
excellent
lots
question.
of discussion.
Okay, so Eric, would
Yes.
you mind talking about a little bit more about the logistics of how you get I'm having a hard time picturing this resort.
So, I mean, the more we talk about it, the more I'm willing to sort of sacrifice the underwater, like the fully immersed underwater part of it. Though I think that is cool.
Oh, it's
I want to keep as much as that as
Here's
possible.
the thing, as I really like having it underwater, and I think having parts of that building underwater is awesome.
Yeah.
But those lakes in front of Disney, they look like Willy Wonka's river.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see much of anything.
That is
That's fair. So you'd have to build some kind of immersive thing around that, right? Like protecting.
like a giant chlorinated pool.
Yeah.
Or,
If it were to be even like a above ground structure that was say like on the lake or something like that.
Yeah.
I could envision carpooling in off of like an off lake parking lot through like a monorail track into the resort, kind of, because they have the monorail that runs through the Polynesian and runs through all of those things that takes them in. Connect that to the same system, except the track would then run kind of out over the lake.
So I think both you and Brock are pitching potential monorail loop hotels.
Yes, that would be the idea.
Yeah.
On the Magic Kingdom monorail.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Cool.
I have one
Yeah.
real quick for Brock.
Yeah.
So the theming is ancient Greece. We're talking Hercules inspired architecture. So it's kind of like that, like white and blue kind of rounded edges clouds aesthetic, but not themed specifically for Hercules.
Okay, yeah, I see I see where that confusion came. So what I'm talking about is the Santorini city as it exists in the real world, kind of what like Jake was talking about, taking something from the real world and putting it there. That's a really good iconic image of Greece. And then I think we could do Mount Olympus, which is at the top going to be kind of like a little bit, it almost looks a little bit like the remains of an ancient Greek city.
Sure.
But when you get closer, you realize it's more magical and there's more things going on. But what I mean by that is let's get like the character designs of the Greek gods from Hercules, because I think they have really striking, really fun designs, and a lot of them aren't terribly well used in the movie. But that's just sort of like a fun thing to theme the separate areas after. Maybe each area has a statue of their god and certain flowers and color schemes in the furniture and all that is going to fit that god. And then so you're in the Hermes section or the
Sure.
Dionysus section.
So it is sort of tangentially Hercules.
That Hercules was just a design element that we could take and mix it in and make it feel uniquely Disney, but also authentic to what it's trying to be.
Cool. And don't forget the Escape of the Titans water slide.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like a whole Poseidon themed pool area would be really cool, and then Zeus kind of rules Mount Olympus, and it's like a Dionysus restaurant, and maybe
I like
especially-
Dionysus running a restaurant. That sounds fun.
Who doesn't?
maybe if we're building up that area, the large topographical, almost mountainous thing, maybe underneath there's some sort of something with Hades. I don't know what that would be, but maybe the parking garage is.
Hades would be pissed.
There'd definitely be a club on the lower level that would like a dance club, right?
Yeah.
That Hades ran. Right? I think that'd be sick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Or a bar. Or,
So I actually did have a question for everybody, and I think I know the answer. So at Disney World, they have different levels of resorts. They have value, moderate, and deluxe. Those are the three levels.
Sure.
And that's the price ranges. And then with that kind of comes, some people think the quality, but generally the resorts on the monorail loop are deluxe because of their how close they are to Magic Kingdom, and then they're usually of higher quality. So would both you and Brock have more of a deluxe style resort?
I
you're
think
thinking?
there's no doubt.
I was actually picturing mine as the mid-level, the moderate.
Well, that's why I was wondering, because you were talking about having the sections, but typically all the resorts on the monorail loop are not moderate.
But it doesn't.
But you're thinking
have
you would,
to be.
Okay, well, that's
deluxe.
why I was curious.
I mean, I don't think there's a law, and if there is, I'm here to change the system, baby.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be just the structure of Santorini as that architecturally and having it split into the sections, I think is going to be more interesting if it's more accessible and if it's kind of presented as those separate outdoor things in the way that a lot of the moderates are.
Yeah.
With the central hub in which there's a cafeteria and a restaurant, and a lot of the moderates are and a pool area. That's the way a lot of the moderates are organized, and I kind of like that idea.
Right. So that's I think the Sausalito houseboats for me would definitely be a moderate because it's very similar to the cabin that I mentioned at Fort Wilderness. Mm-hmm. And then Tanner, you said yours is at Disneyland, right?
Yes.
And I don't think that same tier system exists with the Disneyland.
Well, there's not
resorts.
nearly as many resorts.
Right, because there's not as much space.
There's only one on site currently.
There's the Grand Californian.
Yeah, and then there's the Disneyland Hotel, which is not
slightly
on
offsite.
site.
Yeah.
Offsite, yeah, it's actually further away from the parks than like downtown Disney is.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. So, but Tanner, in terms of, I guess, in comparison to the Disney World hotels,
Yeah.
are you think yours would be like a deluxe?
I mean, I'm saying it's in the park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Probably
seems
would
deluxe.
have to be a
Yours is going to be
deluxe
kind of on level with the
experience.
Star Wars
Yeah.
hotel when we finally see the Star Wars hotel.
Actually, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what are some theming elements that, just real quick, what are a couple bullet point theming elements you want to incorporate for
Yeah.
the guests?
Well, I mentioned my main idea was having actual props from the MCU films as areas. Then I wanted to have like a swimming pool, a workout space that is themed to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that's fun.
there.
Yeah.
So things like that. Bruce Banner's kitchen, I think, would be a fun one. And then also finding a way to implement the voice technology that Tony Stark uses in a like almost like the kids can call Mickey sort of way.
Oh, with like
But-
Jarvis?
Yeah, but with Jarvis.
Yeah.
Oh, so like in your
Or
room.
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could walk into your room and it'd almost be like Amazon or
Yeah.
hey hey Friday, turn on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it would be cool, but I'm bummed that kids today won't be as impressed with that because they have freaking Echoes and Hey Google and everything.
Wait, mark the time, episode 6. Jake says the phrase, kids today.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
First time on pod, though, I think.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing.
I'm not wrong.
And then, yeah, I think it would end up being just kind of like a general Avengers swimming pool with statues and stuff.
Yeah, that's
from that.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, quick question for Jake.
Yes.
Not being as familiar with the camps the cabins at Camp Wilderness.
Yeah.
You mentioned sort of Sausalito, the floating city. Is there like a centralized hub around?
Yeah,
this,
so
or-
I imagine from looking at maps of the real Sausalito, there's a series of docks that are like sprawling city streets that come off of the shore, but they're attached to the land. It's not
Yeah.
just out in the middle. So I imagine you would come off of the docks and you would be on the land, and that's where you could have, the dining hall,
Right.
and, the gift shops and the check-in and the parking lot and everything would be there.
I'm unfamiliar with Sausalito and its location, like, relative to the city. But that could be, like sort of boardwalk style pier buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They would just look like houseboats.
Cool.
It's the part where we vote.
Oh, I have to vote for Brock, I think. I think that his hotel would be very cool. I just am picturing standing out in front of Magic Kingdom and looking across the lake and seeing it out on the shore in the distance. I think that would look cool. Cool place. I would like to stay there.
Cool. Me. I'm a sucker for Hercules. I got to do it. I think they're all cool. I think an in-park hotel is something we should absolutely approach. I love the theming of it.
Yeah, because they do have them in Disney Sea. There is an indoor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
there
the
is.
theme park. So
Honestly,
it would just be new to the
Disneyland
US.
Paris' main
Yeah.
hotel opens right into the park, and now the Star Wars hotel will too.
Yeah. I just know how, for me, and I know that, like, obviously, ambition is what we're looking for. When I heard about an in-park DCA hotel, I'm like, I don't have $12,000
Yeah, that was
to
my
spend
reaction.
on that.
Right, yeah, that's what everybody's saying about Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Hercules theming. I think that's cool. That's my vote.
To quote Eric, I was told to come up with the biggest dreams you could ever have.
Yeah,
And to also quote Eric, I will be voting for Brock's hotel.
Thanks.
yeah, it's a solid idea, man. Who does your ceremonial vote go for?
Okay, so this is incredibly hard. I might have gone Tanner, but yeah, the $12,000 I don't have to drop. I'm actually a big fan of making moderate resorts in Disney, and while I really want to discuss the Atlantica, I would like to do that from a less grounded perspective.
Yeah, that's an imagination sore kind of day.
Yes,
Yeah, talk about $1,200.
What Disney doesn't need is more opportunities to price gouge.
Yeah, they really don't.
So my vote's gonna go for Jake's,
All right, thanks, Brock.
which is also I voted on its own merit, not just not just through
because you
process
had
of
to.
elimination.
Yeah, thanks, Brock.
No, I love the sauce.
Yeah, I still want to explore that one someday. That's been an idea I've had for a while, so that will definitely be coming up again.
So, Brock, we have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for now. Give us some more of the specifics that you're looking to implement. Like, what specific locations do you want per god, right? Like, when you're theming an area around Hermes, what are you looking for?
Yeah, Hermes is a tough example because who knows much about Hermes. But
The god
Don't
of
show me, I'm just the
thieves.
messenger.
yeah, let's. So I'm thinking. So in the real city, everything's angled, right? Instead, what we could do is each section is flat to itself, but it's sort of almost theater seating style. We have a couple of flat sections on one level, and then you go further out and farther down, and you have another couple of flat sections. That way, we aren't dealing with accessibility issues where you have to roll up a hill if you're in a wheelchair.
Right.
And there will be stairs and elevators, of course. So that's kind of how I'm picturing it. Now, each in the moderate resorts, the way it often works is there's like it's like a small little cluster of buildings, and in the center is like a small little courtyard square. And I'm thinking in each of those courtyard squares, we have a statue of that god in the style of Hercules, and then the flowers and the planters and all that sort of thing is themed in the style. So if it's Aphrodite, it's going to be flowers and hearts and based on love and beauty. Almost all of the gods, I think, have like a certain kind of flower. Disney is geniuses when it comes to their greenhouse and all that, so that would be a fun thing to incorporate. Just they're going to be small little subtle touches that just bring the area together. And I also think it'd be really fun to theme like the interiors of the room after that, and you can go a little less subtle. You can do the color schemes, you can do certain carved furniture, maybe those
Even patterns in the carpeting.
patterns in the carpeting,
Like in the
those
Zeus
old,
building, there's little lightning bolts hidden everywhere.
Yeah,
Or
that'd
in
be
the,
perfect. And those old like carved statue lamps. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like one of each of the gods. That could be fun. Small things that they're the patron of. Hermes might have the little catechist symbol. Hera might have peacock statues. Just sort of. I don't want to get too into the specifics of Greek gods, especially because if we get too far out of the realm of Hercules into Greek gods, they're actually all awful.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Things can go downhill very quickly.
Yeah.
No, that answers my question, right? It's color palette. It's a lot of color theory.
It's very loose color palette statue, kind of fun, and it's enough to feel like you're in a unique setting, but it's also not so much that it feels like they have to go all out on each section. And then I think those are going to be some of the, I don't want to say minor, but maybe lesser known. Then you got Zeus up at the top. You got Poseidon has the pool. So, you're staying in the section of, Demeter or Hephaestus, people that might not be celebrated.
It is always possible, too, that some of your big three gods, so Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, could potentially because we talk about Hades could be a club and Poseidon could be the pool. But if Zeus is still a room, maybe he's not, maybe he's something else. But if he was still a section of rooms, maybe that could be your concierge level rooms.
Yeah.
Where they come at more of a premium.
I was thinking Zeus is probably going to be like the Olympus area, but that would probably be where the concierge rooms are up in Olympus.
You know that honeymoon suite is Aphrodite, though.
Oh yeah. Baby.
For sure. For sure.
You can have a heart-shaped bed there and pretend that it's not tacky.
Yeah, and it's okay for Disney.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of obsessed with this Hades club idea.
I really love
I'm
the
excited
the
about
club
that.
bar club idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. It still make it in family friendly enough.
So how does that work in Disney resorts? That's something that I'm not super familiar with, but I know that they open up Disneyland for that kind of event specifically. Is there stuff that goes on in Florida or the other places that's like, this is an adult zone, like potentially the Hades Club, right?
They're very few and far between. So there's Trader Sam's is a good example. That is straight up a bar. You got to be 21 to get in.
Yep. So yeah, if the Hades Club worked the way Trader Sam's did, that would be perfect.
But what I would think is maybe it's kind of like a bar restaurant. Like maybe not restaurant, but like appetizer type thing where you can just hang out with your kids until like 8 p.m. and then it's an adult.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and also there's no reason that it couldn't be a 2-section thing of like this is like a family
With a bar room,
establishment,
yeah.
food with a
Right.
bar. I was going to say, and then more of a traditional like club space with more bar seating and room
Yeah.
for like dancing and
So
things like that.
when you guys first said underneath is a club, the first thing I thought of was the Tube Club on the Disney Fantasy cruise ship because it's near the back of the ship. There's no windows. It's adults only, and it's the dance club on the ship. But during the day, they do have some family-friendly events where kids are allowed in for certain things. But at night, it's strictly adults only.
Yeah, so that would kind of be perfect, right? Because then the adults could actually enjoy it as a bar.
Yeah. Now that being said, most people are only going to be in the resort at night.
That's true.
During the day, they're going to be in the park.
That
well,
most-
that being said, though, not necessarily if you have smaller kids because
you
you're
might
going to
come
have
back for nap time. or
nap
whatever.
time,
Yeah.
sun breaks,
I've
things
known
like
people
that.
who make sure to set aside an entire day of their vacation because they just want to spend that day at the resort.
Now, to be fair, if I'm in Disney for 12 days, sure, I'll set a day aside for a resort.
Or if I'm at Disney with my 6-year-old who is
Right.
tired of walking all
Right,
day, maybe
right.
I'll
Yeah.
take a day to spend.
I mean, we could like it could be later than 8, right? It could be midnight, right? Like midnight to 2.
Well, that's
No,
That's
so
late.
it's
It's
very
in
late.
Disney,
They don't
in
keep
Disney
things
stuff
open.
isn't open that late.
Even something like that?
yeah.
Yeah, even something like that.
Especially because
learning.
if it's attached to a resort, that
Yeah.
opens up problems. They don't want drunks walking around outside at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I couldn't give you times.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's keep talking, but I'll look up Jelly Rolls, which I think is adults only at night,
It
which is the piano bar.
Apart from that, though, let's talk about
yeah.
like the theming. So, like, let's talk about the club because that's really cool. I mean,
It's
there's
bouncing.
that in the movie Hercules. There's that giant like skull stalactite centerpiece, and that would be really cool. Maybe that's behind the bar, and then you could get water features that are like with the green light and maybe the souls swimming projected onto there.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
What if there's fun animatronics of Pain and Panic wearing Hercules sneakers
Oh, yes.
doing
yes.
like the Running Man?
Doing the
Yes. Only if they are doing the running man.
Can they do the Cabbage Patch?
Bro, we just said just the Running.
Oh, and that potion that they make for Hercules, like you could have bottles like that behind the bar.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's like a specialty cocktail.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I think because Disney, where they do have alcohol in the parks, they really do have a fun time in like Pandora theming it to the land that they're in. So I feel like there's so many options for things you could do in a Hades Greek gods bar.
Yeah.
And for
area.
Trader Sam's, which is a tiki bar for those who aren't unfamiliar, they like have drinks that have since become famous like outside of the parks. Like they go all out when they do it, and I think you could do something really cool with Hades.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Hercules god potion, anti-god potion.
Also, it's guarded by either a statue or animatronic of Cerberus. Right? At the entrance to the
Yes,
club.
that's cool.
Just looking at just for reference, I did find Disney's old Pleasure Island, which used to be
Yes.
part of Downtown Disney, now Disney Springs, and they had dance clubs that were open until 2 a.m.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, according to this, Jelly Rolls is open until 2 a.m.,
Oh,
which I was
so
surprised
we
to
stand
learn.
corrected.
So 2 a.m. is good. That being said, Jelly Rolls is strictly 21 and over all the time.
Yeah. There we go. I think, find a happy medium. I think
Absolutely.
after 9 p.m. or... Do you have anything that we didn't mention about the Hades theme bar before we move to something else?
Oh man, I mean you can do so much stuff with projection mapping and the souls and in the movie they don't really show like flames down there.
But I think that's kind of cool. That presents a different aesthetic of the underworld.
Yeah, no, that's what I like about
Maybe
it.
you have like torches on the walls that
I
are
would
like
say
that
lots of-
fake blue
but like
flame.
blue flames, yeah.
And I would,
Yeah.
or the greenish or bluish, but
Yeah.
I would say it'd be cool to see lots of skulls everywhere. Hades has the cool skull
clasp
the
on his
clasp
Yeah,
on
it's
his
not a
toga.
roach. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
That he wears on his toga or tunic.
Yeah.
And then there's that great shot when you first see the underworld in the movie of that big skull,
Yeah.
which is like Hades' like headquarters
Yeah,
or
we
something.
mentioned that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
that
would just
would
say
be-
as long as we stick to those lines. I
And
think that would
again,
be-
most importantly for our listeners, this fictional Hades dance club that we are opening up is available to families until 9 p.m. And then from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., you can come to our fake imaginary bar themed around Hades underworld and drink your heart out till 2 a.m.
These are the
Imaginarily.
important rules,
Imaginarily.
All right, so that's the Hades Club, which I hadn't thought of at all before we started, and
I like it.
What a cool detail that
Yeah,
had.
for sure.
Let's talk about. So we talked about the rooms. We've talked about the Hades Club. Want to talk about something else? Maybe the pool.
I was going to say the Poseidon pool.
Yeah, the
Poseidon
seems like
pool.
the next very exciting themed
Yeah,
area.
that's it, at the hotels. It's usually the things you want to talk about is how cool is the room, how cool is the pool, what are my dining options.
Yeah. I was kind of joking before, but I want, especially if it's like Poseidon themed. I know in the movie they're trapped in like the earth, right? Having Poseidon trapping the Titans in a whirlpool and like an
So-
escape the
Yes.
Titans.
In the movie, they are underground, but the ground is under the ocean.
Yeah,
so
So
yeah,
it
so-
does have to make a
opens up to
whirlpool.
the
Like, then
Titans.
you see them under like the sea floor.
yeah, I love
So,
the idea
yeah.
of like an escape of the Titans slide.
Yeah,
Like
that's
as
really
like a
neat.
main
yeah, that
attraction
would
there.
be so fun.
Yeah, maybe there's a statue of Poseidon standing in the middle, like dabbing or something. I don't know. And there's like water coming out of his hands or something like that.
Water
Again-
shooting out of his mighty
Again,
trident.
I must insist: can Poseidon be doing the cabbage patch?
Well, you could use like in some of them how they have the like they spray water for the kids. You could have like his trident
Yeah.
sprays like water every
Yeah.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
out
Or maybe
at
he like
kids.
is slowly spinning around
Yeah.
and like it shoots out or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of potential for water features, but like a lot of the really cool pools at the Disney resorts all have like a center big set piece. So what might
Yeah,
that be?
so like at French Quarter, you've got the dragon, which, French Quarter dragon, I guess.
And one of them has a really cool pirate ship.
Yeah, and then at Boardwalk, you've got the really creepy clown.
Oh yeah, that
Could
is
it
spooky.
be the Parthenon?
Yeah,
Like submerged?
Yeah, thinking of just like it on its own little hill in the middle.
Yeah, what if the pool was inside of the Parthenon?
That would be cool.
Wait, does the Parthenon have a roof?
You?
I would say one
Or
something
the
without a
Pantheon.
roof.
We're talking about the Pantheon,
We're
right?
talking about
No,
the Parthenon.
The
No.
Pantheon is all the gods.
No, the Pantheon is the circular one with the statues of the god that doesn't have a roof. That's what I'm saying.
That one.
That's
would be
the one
cool
that
for
the pool should
Oh, that
be.
that
Maybe
could be
the
cool.
pool
That's
was in the
sorry. That's
center
what
of
I
that.
meant by we're talking about the Pantheon.
Okay.
The one without the roof is the Pantheon, and you can kind of swim past the
decentralizes
statues.
the big thing.
And we want to keep Poseidon out of Athena's Parthenon, if we know our Greek.
Yeah,
myths.
that is
one
true.
thing. So that would kind of take away from the specific Poseidon theming if we did that.
yeah, so
wouldn't
we
it?
didn't have to be Poseidon. It could be the big centerpiece. Could be Poseidon and his trident that shoots out water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that would be.
I
the
think
big
that works.
centerpiece.
Just
yeah.
make that big enough, and then
Yeah, I mean,
you got the-
we'll make him like 60 feet tall.
Oh,
I think that's
perfect.
acceptable.
Roughly.
he'll be the
Yeah, we
size
can't
of the
do my
Colossus at
underwater.
Rhodes.
But I think it's important that we mention that the fountain will only be running until pool hours end, which will probably be around 10 o'clock, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to
Jake,
want
could
to.
you look up some? We need precedent.
let me look.
Nah, you need that pool open for that after hours Hades crowd.
Oh yeah, that won't lead to drowning. Cool, yeah. And then I'm that statue, not statue, the Titans escape slide. There's something really cool with that we could do.
So like it could even be something like there's a large statue of Poseidon in the middle that kind of almost like opens up, right? And then the slide comes down into it.
Yeah,
or
and
something
I
like
mean we're kind of solidifying the concept that each of these areas has a statue of that god.
that. yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
So
a centerpiece. Yeah.
that's the centerpiece for the Poseidon is, and of course he wouldn't have rooms; he would have water,
Right.
and I think that's a fun thematic.
So generally, the pools and fountains run until 9 p.m., but the pool itself might be open until 10 or 11.
Wow, this has been the single most educational episode
So-
of anything ever.
So just to reiterate for our listeners, if you are part of a family, please do not fret. Even though you cannot hang out in the Hades fictional club after 9 p.m., you still have 2 hours of swim time in the fictional Poseidon's pool adventure. So
I'm
So you
glad
can
we clarified
swim
that.
until the pool closes, and then go get hammered without the worry of children around you.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's called Hammered at Disney. And what's a Disney version?
Shit-faced.
Shit-face, yes.
Yeah, obviously face. Or as they put it in Aristocats, he's marinated.
Yeah. There we go. That's the Disney way to say hammered.
Yeah, you can
How
go get
have we not hit
marinated.
Aristocats IP yet? God,
We will soon.
It's on the list.
failures to ourselves.
So finally, I think one thing that a lot of the resorts have, we kind of decided that Zeus is going to be like the figurehead of the concierge level and also the Olympus section as a whole, where all of the facilities are going to be. But the one thing that every resort has that we haven't touched on is a restaurant.
Yes.
Ooh, I was excited. I had an idea, Brock. I know you mentioned Dionysus having a restaurant.
That was just off the cuff.
Yeah.
So.
So I was thinking it would be cool to have a food court that could be maybe themed to Hermes quick service foods, and then
neat.
Fast.
and then a little bit fancier
Like your sit-down
restaurant where you can have a meal from Dionysus.
So typically the moderates do have a sit down and a quick service.
That's
They have
true.
one of each. So that would be perfect.
I love the idea of the Hermes quick service.
The Hermes quick service is genius.
I also love the idea of theming the bellhops that take fest, like the room service, up in Hermes feet wings.
Or in the helmets.
Yes.
Looking like the Flash. I think that's a super cool idea. And then, like, because it's normally in little sections as well, each little section. So, like, the salads could be like Demeter's salad bar, and then, the golden cattle of Apollo hamburger.
Yeah, because also if there's one thing we've learned from our Greek history is you should definitely eat Apollo's cattle.
Yeah.
He's just like standing there looking really pissed off.
Yeah, really angry. So that's cool. But then let's talk about that restaurant then.
It's got to be.
I'm excited,
I
guys.
know.
I'm sorry.
If you're gonna go Dionysus, it's got to be sort of upper mid tier.
Yeah, that sounds
So,
right.
like, if we're analoging the real world, something like Red Lobster or above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preferably, maybe not above in price, but in quality. Let's,
Usually definitely.
I love their.
I
if
love
you
their
don't like
food. I
their
just need
cheddar
quality
biscuits-
of.
Dionysus. So he also features prominently in the original Fantasia. Remember?
That's true.
So at the Fantasia mini golf course, which as far as I know is Fantasia's only representation at Walt Disney World.
There's a couple Mickey in the sorcerer costume, but yeah.
Well, other than that, but one of the holes was themed after that short with Dionysus with Dio, and I seem to recall that they had a really cool fountain where he had like a bottle of champagne and there was water shooting out of it and it was flowing everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to have that in the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a
fountain
brunch bar.
that.
Hell yeah.
And like there's like water flowing around and
Yeah, water.
and
It
maybe
looks like
grapes,
white wine.
you know,
Yeah, like
all
lots of
around him.
vineyard theming and water moving around.
Yeah.
I think would be a really nice way to set it as like it's a classier, like still for Disney families can go,
Right.
but like peaceful. Take a moment, sit down, rest, and enjoy your food.
Yeah, and maybe there's
imagine
like an
that-
outdoor section where it's like a patio, like a tiled patio, but you have above you like the lattice work with like grapes hanging from it, and
And imagine that Greek food. What's the fried cheese? Opa.
Saganaki.
Saganaki. Yes, oh my gosh. The
Yes.
Saganaki.
That is
would be
very good.
and get some
flying.
like gyros or
I would slam some euros at the Dionysus. So
Heck yeah.
I'm telling you what, I'm gonna take those euros to Slamtown
me too,
in
man.
Dionysus.
Jake, could you do me a favor and look up typical operating hours for a sit-down restaurant?
Tanner, I'm not finding the hours. I'm having a difficult time because everything is currently closed for COVID.
Okay, so
So-
listeners at home, please know we will just have pretty standard Disney operating hours for a sit-down
But
restaurant.
we won't be open right now because of COVID.
But we won't be open right now because of COVID.
And it's likely under standard operating hours that you could then go to our imaginary Hades restaurant and party if you'd like to.
Yes.
Yes.
Future hours are to be determined.
Yeah, at a later date.
How extra do we get with the monorail stop, right? Do we put like a bunch
yeah.
of Pegasus in there?
Each of the monorail stops, I think they are themed, but none of them are like aggressively.
Yeah,
So
nothing
like
is
2
over the
statues of a
top.
Pegasus, and like
Yeah, I
that's
think
it.
just kind of presenting.
It's
the
more
Greek
like it fits
style.
in where it's like the walls are white and the floor is the same tile that you see throughout the resort.
That being said, I
Same
don't
plants.
necessarily want the monorail to be going right up to the gates of the, like not right up into the Olympus area.
I had envisioned it being more like the Poly.
Exactly.
So like Contemporary goes literally through the building.
Yeah, no. More
But
like
at Grand
the Poly.
Floridian at Poly, the station is a little bit of a ways away. You have to kind of walk.
Yeah,
to
there's a
it.
bit of a walk. That way it doesn't kind of interfere with any of the guests. It's not getting in their view. And it's also, it's kind of hard to fit that theming into Greece,
I think we can all agree that sounds less convenient than taking submarines.
I'm just saying, in my idea, you didn't even have to take a monorail because you were already in the park.
That's true.
Wow.
Wow, we're getting bitter here.
So we've hit the pool, we've hit a cool club, we've hit a restaurant. Is there anything else that we feel like
I think we've touched on all the main
the
points.
main points.
in the architecture?
An
I like
arcade.
it.
But that's about, those are Ted.
How you feeling about your resort, Brock?
I'm feeling good, man. We have a lot more ideas than I had going into this, and they're all amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled about this resort. I'm so disappointed it will never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo. What's it called?
Ooh, that is the final hurdle, isn't it?
The Olympic.
Ooh, the Olympic. I kind of like
That's
that.
possible, yeah.
Or the Olympian.
Yeah, it works. Polynesian.
I think Olympian kind of fits in that theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Olympian might be good. Yeah. I like
Cool.
it.
The Olympian. Who's ready for a lightning round?
Oh, I'm ready for a lightning.
Okay.
Zeus is ready for a lightning round.
It's the lightning round. Let's go. What do we got, Jake?
All right, so we actually have another retheme today.
I like retheming.
Ooh.
We need to retheme Toy Story's Midway Mania as Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Eric, start us off, man. Let's do 30 seconds on the clock.
All right, so Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, in this particular, we're going to keep the same arcade style sort of gun blasters. We're going to be shooting apples off of trees. You have to select the correct ones. Green are poison, red are regular. You want to get as many regular apples into barrels as possible. And then we kind of move into another room where Sleepy can't wake up, or can't, wake up. So you're poking him to wake up, and you get more points the more you do that. Okay, we're done.
Nice. Not bad. This is a hard one to do in 30 seconds because there's like every screen is different.
Yeah.
So I think a 1 or 2 screens is acceptable.
Cool.
Who's next?
And
All right, so we're gonna kind of theme it after the mining, where it's not where you're kind of blasting apart the rock to find the jewels, and every jewel you find, that's another point for you, or a few points, and you just keep blasting those jewels, and you're trying to get that, and then you are the huntsman, and maybe you're not the huntsman because that's grim. You're more jewels. You're blasting more jewels. It's jewels from here to eternity.
And that's time on Brock. Man. All right, who's next?
Jake.
Okay. So I think this is going to be Snow White has stumbled upon the dwarves' cottage, and she's going to clean it for them, and you're going to help her clean. 'Cause cleaning's not that bad. You just whistle while you work. Right? Huh? Come on. So while she's whistling at us, we're blasting off like the dwarves' dirty underwear and stuff. We're shooting it. Well, it has a drawstring. You guys are doing triggers, but it has. So yeah, we're power washing the dwarves' cottage. Gotta blast those dirty things all over the place, and that's all I care to say. Clean the place.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ride doesn't actually have a trigger; it has a drawstring.
I can't remember.
All right, T.
All right, this ride is called the Evil Queen's Revenge. Throughout the ride, you will be shooting poisoned apples at different targets themed to each character in the ride as you poison Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy, Sleepy, Doc, Sneezy, other dwarfs, and also the prince. No one is safe from the reign of the Evil Queen.
Oh
Wow.
man.
I should have gone dark.
twist.
I regret not going dark now.
Dark twist.
Every time we get one dark. And don't forget to vote on our Twitter polls for which lightning round attraction you'd like to see us come back to at a later date. All right, guys. That was fun.
That was fun.
I like that. Brock?
All right, let's take a look. What is this we have here? Oh, it's social media.
What about that?
Wow.
Jake, what's that Facebook?
I believe our Facebook page is facebook.com/Main Street Musings.
Oh my gosh, Tanner, is that an Instagram you have there?
Yes, this is an Instagram I have here. You can find us there at main_street_musings.
Oh, and Eric, where did our Twitter go?
At MSN_podcast.
And I'm Brock.
As always, we will see you next time.
She wrote.
Bye.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company.